Ever been so close to finishing the project that you were tempted to cut corners? We've all been there. Now what if that one decision could jeopardize everything you've worked for? Today, you'll hear a story of John, a master electrician who faced this exact same dilemma. His journey takes an unexpected turn that will challenge your assumptions and reveal a shocking truth about success. Stay tuned, because the end will leave you speechless. Hi everyone, and welcome to Learn Something New, where we turn the ordinary into extraordinary. I'm Matt Riley. Today's story hits close to home for me. Before navigating the world of utility-scale solar development, I spent years in mortgage sales. I've seen firsthand the temptation to cut corners for quick wins at the expense of long-term integrity. Upholding high standards, even when it's harder, has immense power. Today's story is about a master electrician who faced a similar crossroad. It's a stark reminder that the choices we make in our life and work, big and small, ultimately shape our future. It's a testament to the extraordinary positive impact of unwavering integrity. So if you've ever questioned the value of doing things right, even when no one's watching, this story is for you. And this isn't just theoretical for me. I've grappled with these choices firsthand. Years ago, during my time in mortgage sales, I was working on a complex loan for a first-time home buyer. The deal was on the verge of falling apart due to a simple bona fide error in a document. The clock was ticking, the pressure was on, and I had two choices. One, I could fudge the paperwork, assuming no one would likely notice, and they probably wouldn't. Or two, I could delay the closing and risk losing the client and getting a terrible review. My integrity was put to the test. I chose to take the harder path, the higher path, to do the right thing. I explained the situation to the client, who was understandably quite disappointed, but ultimately appreciative of my honesty. We worked together to correct the necessary document, and the loan closed a few days later. Now, not only did I gain a loyal client, but I also solidified my reputation as a trustworthy advisor. And that experience taught me a valuable lesson. Integrity isn't about following the rules. It's about building trust and creating long-lasting relationships. And this brings us to the story of John, the master electrician that perfectly illustrates this importance of integrity and the dedication to quality. Once upon a time, there was a master electrician named John who had spent decades working for the same builder. John's hands were a map of his expertise, calloused and weathered from years of meticulous work. His reputation was built on precision, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to quality. Every circuit he wired, every fixture he installed was a testament to his artistry. John was known to be the best of the best, but time had taken its toll. The weight of countless projects, long hours spent hunched over electrical panels, all pressed down on him. The spark in his eyes, once bright with passion, had begun to dim. He dreamt of retirement, of quiet days with his family, of a life beyond wires and circuits. One day, John gathered his courage and approached Mr. Thompson, his employer and friend for many years. "Mr. Thompson," John began, his voice heavy with anticipation and regret, "I've made a decision. It's time for me to retire." Mr. Thompson's cheerful expression dimmed, replaced by surprise and concern. "John, my friend," he said, filled with genuine care, "are you sure about this? We've been through so much together." "I am," John confirmed, a bittersweet smile showing on his lips. "I've given my best years to this company, and now it's time for me to rest and enjoy the fruits of my labor." A pause lingered in the air as Mr. Thompson digested the news. Finally he spoke, his voice with a hint of desperation. "Now, John, before you go, I've got a serious favor to ask. So please, just one last house. It's a special project, and I can't imagine anyone else doing it the justice that it deserves." John's heart sank. He envisioned a clean break, a fresh start, but his loyalty to Mr. Thompson, forged through the years of shared projects, held him back. "One last house," John whispered. "Yes, just one more," Mr. Thompson pleaded. "After this, you're free to enjoy your retirement, I promise." With a heavy heart, John agreed. Later, as he stood before the skeletal frame of the new house, toolbox in hand, a sense of dread overwhelmed him. The excitement that he once felt for a new project had been replaced by a dull ache of exhaustion. He felt a strong temptation to cut corners and rush through the job, and that temptation gnawed at his resolve. And so, He submitted to the desire to cut corners and just get the job done. Instead of the meticulous work he was known for, John began to take shortcuts. The voice in his head screamed in protest, but he drowned it out with a promise of well-deserved rest and family time. He used cheaper materials and skipped steps. John ignored the nagging voice in his head that whispered, "This isn't right." The days blurred together in a haze of sawdust and anxiety, each one marked by a growing knot in John's stomach. He knew he wasn't doing his best, but he justified his actions with the mantra, "It's just one last job. No one will notice." Finally, the day of completion arrived. John stood before Mr. Thompson, a mixture of relief and shame etched on his face. "The house is finished," he said, with his voice devoid of the usual pride. Mr. Thompson, surprisingly, was beaming, a twinkle in his eye. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a set of keys, placing them in John's outreached hand. "John, my dear friend," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "this house is for you. A token of my gratitude for your years of dedication and service." John's world tilted on an axis. The keys felt heavy in his hand, a physical manifestation of his regret. The shortcuts he'd taken, the corners he cut, were now his own to bear. The house, which was once a symbol of his freedom, had become a monument of his compromised integrity. It's easy to get caught up in the rush to the finish. Yet, it's those final moments that our true character shines through. So let's unpack 5 key lessons we can learn from the master electrician's experience. The first lesson is guard your reputation throughout the end. A lifetime of excellence can be tarnished by one moment of compromise. Every project is a chance to uphold your standards. Don't let the finish line tempt you to cut corners. Think of how the end can affect the overall perception. Like in Game of Thrones, where the final season changed the overall perception of the entire series. The second lesson is integrity is your compass. The easy path rarely leads to lasting satisfaction. Choose the path of integrity, even when it's harder. It's those choices that define your character. Think of every decision as an opportunity to reinforce your values. Integrity builds trust. The third lesson is every detail matters. No task is insignificant. Your work ethic is reflected in every detail. Excellence should be a habit, not an exception. Small details can significantly impact the overall quality. Constantly paying attention to the detail shows your commitment to high standards. The fourth lesson is choices create ripples. You never know where your choices will lead. Every action creates ripples that extend far beyond the present moment. Thoughtful choices proactively influence your future and the lives of those around you. The fifth and final lesson is pride fuels excellence. True fulfillment comes from knowing that you've given your best. Take pride in your work and let that pride fuel your dedication to excellence. It builds your reputation as reliable and committed to high standards. John's story reminds us that integrity isn't a switch we can flip on and off. It's a way of life, a commitment to excellence. As you go about your day, your projects, and your dreams, remember these 5 crucial lessons. First, guard your reputation. Second, choose integrity. Third, pay attention to every detail. Fourth, understand that choices create ripples. And fifth, take pride in your work. By incorporating these principles, you can ensure your work and character remain exemplary. Now I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever faced a situation where your integrity was tested? How did you handle it? Share your experience in the comments below. Check out the description of the video for resources and links to additional information to help you master your personal and professional skills. If you're hungry for more inspiring stories about practical advice, explore our Mastering Personal and Professional Skills playlist. Thank you for joining me today here on Learn Something New. Remember, the choices we make today determine the legacy we leave behind. Let's choose integrity, excellence, and build a future we can be proud of. Thank you very much.